Okay, perfect. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I am so happy to be here for the last event of these last 3 years. It is the establishment of the mentorship scheme, and I really hope it will help you also in your own journey towards sustainability. Today's event is going to look a bit like this. We are going to first start with a little session on how you can start to work on sustainability in your adult learning institution, or if you are not really working in adult learning, in education in general. We will have a short presentation from our colleagues from Teachers Without Borders, and then the workshop part is going to start. We will have a guided group reflection on how we can improve our sustainabilities. There we are going to be actually using the SMALEI tools. And at the end, we will see how you can get started and what would be the next steps for you in the SMALEI mentorship, or also a bit broader in sustainability itself. So the main people involved in this session from SMALEI side are going to be myself, Tina Mavric, together with my colleagues, Charlotte Eid and August Nilsson. We are going to be here to guide you through this session, and hopefully we will be able to provide you with a bit more information about what we have done, but also a bit more on the mentorship scheme itself. Also, we are joined, as I said, by a colleague from Teachers Without Borders, Ibrahim Mohamed, that's going to be presenting a bit more what they do and how they actually started and what can they provide for sustainability in institutions as well. So first off, I would like to ask you, who are you? Where are you joining us from, and what is your area of expertise? It would be great if you would put that information in the chat, and I will give you about a minute to write it down. So, who are you? What are you doing? What is your institution about? Where are you joining us from the world? And what is your area of expertise? Here we are looking more about your personal area and not really what your institution might be focused on. So I'm going to give you a minute, and please put it in the chat. Thank you so much. I do realize that some of you have maybe joined us for our last event that happened in February. So maybe you will already know our team or the people behind the project, but please do put in chat, who are you? What is your organization? Where are you joining us from? And what is your area of expertise? We already have a message from our colleague, Marina, that she's joining from Brussels. We have with us also Petra, Secretary General from European Parents Association, also from Belgium. Charlotte from Belgium. Emma Zdravo from Slovenia. We have Alicia also joining us from Belgium as the co-organizer of the SMALEI project. We then have also Ibrahim, who is going to tell us more about Teachers Without Borders. We have our colleague from the project, Andrea, joining us from Germany. We have our lovely colleague, Olga, joining us also from Brussels. August from Sweden. Okay, this also works a bit more about getting to know who is in the room, and it will guide us in the last part, who you could get to perhaps mentor you, or maybe you could be a mentor yourself. And this is also, the reasoning behind it, that we see who joined us and what would your interest be in joining this session and maybe joining the mentorship scheme itself. We have Dragisha from Montenegro. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Lucia from north of Italy. Alexander from Malawi. Perfect. And we have about 15 participants joining us today, which is perfect. Sina, hello to Stuttgart. Okay. I believe most of you have now shared with us. Could we go please to the next slide? So today we have a bit of an agenda behind why we have gathered here today. And we really hope that at the end of this session, you will feel inspired by all the ways you could contribute to either the project or to environmental sustainability in general, or maybe even to the mentorship scheme itself. That you might want to follow up with or connect with the people that you have met in the breakout rooms, or also with the people that you have met here in plenary. And perhaps that you might have concrete ideas figuring out your personal or institutional next step for sustainability. Because here we really tried to see what was missing, and we saw that there was not a lot of material prepared for staff and educators. And if you are in this position, you also often know that normally there is absolutely no time or funding to prepare these sort of things. So hopefully this is going to be of an assistance to you. Also perhaps looking at other materials that we have, the online courses, the matrix itself, the guidebooks, and so on. But first, I would just like to say what we are doing at the moment at the European Association for Education of Adults. So we have actually started working on environmental sustainability in 2021. SMALEI, Sustainability Matrix for Adult Education Institutions, was the first initiative that we have done at a larger scale to provide methodology to adults that are dealing either with being an educator or being a staff in an adult education organization, or also to everybody else that might be working on these topics. If you perhaps had the time to check out the matrix beforehand, or you will have the time to check it out today, during the meeting or after, you will see that it is very general. It is quite vague, and it is intended to inspire you and see what you can actually do in sustainability. We tried to really work and rework on it for the last 3 years so that we have a quality product that anybody can use, be it in education, be it in a very specific context, from kindergarten to high school to primary school, and then later on in adult education institutions. But this is not all. We have also tried to provide a lot of support for adult educators and staff. So we have prepared a couple of online sessions, and we have uploaded it to our online platform. I believe that perhaps my colleagues can share the link to it. It is located at learning.eaea.org, and there you are able to access these learning sessions completely for free. You just have to prepare an account for yourself. And why am I mentioning this? It is also because we will have a section there to emphasize the mentorship scheme and how you can start doing it in your context. So there we have prepared a very detailed matrix that is looking at 5 different areas with sub-areas and aspects. And at this moment, you are still invited to also share with us some good practices that you might have found during your work, or maybe you yourself have a good practice to share. And then we can see if perhaps we could put it there as one of the examples on the website as well. So you are most welcome to share the initiatives you might have with us. Then we are also working on some other topics. So we are now involved in 2 projects that are working in different spheres where we are trying to provide more support for adults itself. One of them is called Engage for Bio. It is about bioeconomy, and there we are providing a bridge between companies that are working and producing bioeconomy products and to present those things and those processes to all of the citizens. I have underneath also included all of the QR codes that lead you to the main website of the initiative. So perhaps you can see if that would be somehow of a service to you. Then the third project we are working on is levers. There we have tried to combine neuro teachings for our brains. And through that, we have 7 insights. We provided a learning platform, and it is actually intended for all age groups. Our colleagues from different countries are working with mainly children, but we are there to provide this knowledge, let's say, to adults as well. There you are also welcome to join us because we will have 3 online sessions, and we can also fund you to come to Brussels at the end of June. And last but not least, working on sustainability is we are also working on Just for All. It is adult education for just transition. And there we are really focusing on the topics of vulnerable groups, on EU policies, and we have also prepared an online course, also available at learning.eaa.org. So you're very welcome to go to our website, see what we have been working on in the past few years, and hopefully we will be able to inspire you a bit to be more environmentally friendly. I would like to thank you again for joining us today, and I'm going to give the word to Ibrahim to present their practice of Teachers Without Borders. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tina. As agreed, Ibrahim, I will share the screen for you once I find it. No. Okay. 1 moment. Okay. And I think, Ibrahim, you can see also the PowerPoint and everyone else. So the floor is over to you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Ibrahim, as already introduced, and nice to meet you again. And the ones that we didn't meet last time, I'm happy to meet you and also hear your story. So I'm Ibrahim. I'm working with Teachers Without Borders, and basically I'm an intern, to be honest. And I'd like to share with you what is the story of Teachers Without Borders, what is their view on mentorship, and some of the best practices that we see, and also finally talk about one last project that connects everything related to mentoring together. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So basically, we believe that teachers are the largest professionally trained group in the world, and they are deeply embedded in their communities. They know who is sick. They know also who is vulnerable. They know who is vulnerable. They know who is missing. They know where there's disaster. They know where all these issues that connect the world together in terms of wicked problems such as climate change, and the needs that they need to be able to address this. So that's why they founded Teachers Without Borders, to connect teachers to information and each other, to be able to close the divide gap between the education systems. So how we operate is basically finding local leaders in terms of teacher leaders who are mainly local leaders. These are people that we think, okay, when we reach them, they'll be able to reach other people. So we focus on reaching the people who reach the people. Yes. So that gives us an approach where, next slide, actually, which make us have an approach of a bottom-up system. So in this aspect, we look at more like a mentorship in the form of what? Trying to build the capacity of a local leader by looking at what is their demand in terms of Teachers Without Borders providing like mentorship courses, providing free resources, providing connection for them, and linking them with other teachers from different backgrounds. So at this place, we also have like all these resources. It means we can share it with the public and say, oh, we have these things on mentorship, we have this course on emergencies in education. Do you really think this can be useful in a specific context? So that is where we're reaching out to these leaders in this community of Teachers Without Borders, and they say, okay, I think this can be useful in this place, and this can also be useful to this person. So that creates a kind of connection between them and their peer groups, by sharing this information and with their learning community. So we use more like the teacher-led model by just empowering them to build their capacity to manage that change. Next, Charlotte. We focus mainly for the past years on issues related to human rights and equality and emergencies in education, such as places where they have natural disaster, girl-child education where they have inequalities, and then also areas where they have peace issues in terms of war. And all these programs are located on the website of Teachers Without Borders, but they are led by teacher leaders. Next. So basically, we come with the notion that, okay, we give them resources, just like the SMALEI project, where they created resources for people who wants to venture into sustainability and be able to build their capacity. But then we want to see ourselves not like owning the project, but more like telling the stories of those teachers who are embedded in small places doing this big impact. So as a result, we try to work together to build their capacities, give them resources and materials where they'll be able to sustain that change or be able to accomplish that change. But then we really want to see, okay, how do we tell the stories of these teachers who are those in those marginalized communities who are making more like big impact. Then some of the things that we really look at when it comes to mentorship best practices, the next slide. Some of the things that we really look at when it comes to mentorship best practices is more like paying attention to context. And to be honest, I think when I saw the SMALEI project document, I also see that it's a bit vague, like she mentioned earlier, but it's not vague that it doesn't have any meaning, just because it can provide that flexibility for it to be adapted in a specific context. Of course, places are different and people are also different connected together. So which means that we also pay attention to context, and but the next thing we also look at is, since we don't want to own the project, we want to really empower people. We want to really look at these local leaders. How do we put more attention to them by giving them the power to adopt these resources that we have as an organization, these courses, if they can follow it? And we give them the credibility of it to own the whole project by just implementing it in their community. And then we tell their stories by to our books that we write, and also sharing our stories on our website, or this is what is happening in this place and it's led by this person in Nigeria, it's led by this person in Suriname, it's led by this person. So that's how we look at things. So we want to support them by giving them the skills, the knowledge and capacity and resources they need. And we look at it in a way that this mentoring will lead to a more sustainable change in the long run. So it means that when we are not there, they will still be able to continue running this. So it does not really look like, okay, we had a funding for this and then we finished everything and then the project is dead, because they are leading the change for themselves. And we saw it in a more way that it can really be sustained by those organizations and individual people. Next one. So then we also look at, okay, since our basic foundation is more about mentoring, so it means all our projects are rooted on the foundation of mentoring, trying to build capacities of someone and together working with them and see how they will be able to sustain their own change. Then we came up with a teacher mentoring course. Basically, it's a bit vague like this, but it's a course that is designed to be able to help teachers in terms of handling emergencies in their classrooms, in terms of handling specific topics such as maybe sustainability topic in terms of climate change. And the course is free, it's practical, and it's adaptable to specific context. It's going to start in fall 2025. But what is more unique about this course is more like the new component we added, which is a research done by the University of Harvard on how to use AI. So basically, we would create it as a specific model in the course so that we can see, okay, teachers can see how they can build their own personal AI chatbot by using it as a mentor to get specific feedback on their lesson plan. So in terms we are creating a lesson plan on sustainability issues such as climate change, you can just say, okay, here is the topic I have in mind. How do I create this? Then how do I create exercise activities with the help of those specific AI prompts? Also, we we also look at it in a way that, okay, there are some specific things such as emotional intelligence and also cultural sensitivity in this course, which means that the person can look at it in a way that, okay, how do this fit in a Ghanaian context? How does it fit in a Belgium context? So therefore making it more applicable to various SDGs. So it doesn't only mean for teachers, but also NGOs who are more interested in capacity development can look at the way they can encourage this mentorship by following a specific model. And the last time I had a discussion with Charlotte was to see how we could adopt this SMALEI project and include it as a specific model. So hopefully, I hope Fred would take a look at it, and in future we could see how we could include some resources from this project as a specific model in those courses. So if you are a teacher or know any teacher somewhere that this can benefit, you can always share with them. And yeah, we learn by sharing, and we also learn by meet new people and also learn about their environment. So hopefully, I'm also looking forward to hear from you about your project and everything. Next. Yeah. So that is a bit more about Teachers Without Borders and what we are doing. So you can follow us on our website and online. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the interactive section. If you have any question, please feel free.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. That was incredibly interesting to hear about what you're doing. Maybe I have a question first, and then I'm happy to, I think, of course, we have time for some questions. I noticed, and what you were discussing is how you're working really in different contexts a lot, different countries with different target groups. How is it that you, or what is the approach to try and make sure that the material is usable in different countries? And how do you tackle the challenge of making sure that it's relevant in all these different contexts?
Okay. So basically what we do is that if we have, like, for example, the mentorship course is basically in English, but we recruit volunteers from different parts of the world who are these local leaders, and they will say, okay, maybe in Kenya it's best to put it in Swahili. So in this community of Teachers Without Borders, we have people who say, okay, I can translate it to Swahili, and maybe in Ghana it cannot be followed online, but then we can make like a workbook from it and just give it to Ghanaian teachers to use it. So that is how we look at it, because we don't really know what is going on in that specific context. But by working with those local leaders, they know exactly what their needs are and how they can be able to adapt it. And we just have to provide them with the resources, mostly human resource, such as somebody who can translate it, somebody who can create a video that can be more suitable to their context.
Very interesting. And I really liked when you were discussing how you don't want people to be sort of force-fed the content, but that they take ownership also over it at the end. I think that's something that is the ideal goal when you create any of these resources and tools, that people will want to use them themselves. Does anyone else have any questions for Ibrahim?
Maybe one question regarding the course starting this fall. Could you mention just briefly the format, like the how much like during what time frame, or like the scope of the course?
So basically, it's a very comprehensive course, but it's more flexible because you can also just follow a specific model related to what you want. For example, the first model is emergencies in education. So meaning that this is related to the specific teacher issue, how to create lesson plan, how to maybe when teaching, what are the things to look out for in students. And then we have another model on emotional intelligence. So this is more related to you as a mentor. How do you understand people in different contexts, and how do you really communicate with them to not really focus on just check the box, but just giving them specific things. Then we also have issues about cultural competencies. So if you want to follow the whole course, it can take a whole of 8 weeks depending on your pace. But if you just are interested in specific model that is really suitable for you, then you can just follow a specific model, which is also based on what you can be able to follow within a specific day. But it can also be followed as a group or an individual basis. So when we talk about group, we talk about maybe an institution that wants to say, okay, we want to adopt this in our teacher training institution where they learn and hold it so they can follow it. Or maybe an NGO that say, oh, we want to take a look at it and see how we can, what are the useful resources that they can take, and then develop our own system that we can work with. Yeah.
August is nodding, so I take that as he's satisfied with the answer. That's really interesting, and definitely the level of taking it as an institution is something that, yeah, we're inspired by, I think, in our project. Anyone else have any questions? And if not, when we go to the interactive part, I know, Ibrahim, you'll stay for the breakout rooms, so I'm sure you're happy to answer questions then. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then thank you so much again. That was, as Petra said in the chat, very inspiring and really interesting to hear about, especially the course as well at the end. We will now, in the interest of time, move on to the next presentation from about the SMALEI matrix areas and mentoring guidelines from August Nilsson at the Glocala Folk High School. So I pass it over to you, August.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be with you today. And thank you again, Ibrahim, for your presentation. Yes, we need to move on. I have ideas and thoughts that came up during what you spoke about, but now let's focus on the next step here. So we move to the next slide, I guess. I don't need to introduce myself much more. But as Tina was explaining a little bit, we've been mentioning some of the tools, the main elements of the SMALEI project. And of course, the sustainability matrix, some of you are familiar with it since before. It is a starting point for analyzing and reflecting on the current state of an organization, be it in adult education or other education sectors. But as we've been mentioning a bit, we've been trying to highlight important areas to think about, to reflect on, and to work on regarding sustainability. So it's a holistic approach, and we have 5 main areas with specific aspects that you can consider. So the five areas are, just briefly, the environmental sustainability of the institution, so things regarding leadership and management, and perhaps energy or the buildings you're in, the green skills of teachers and staff. So for example, how do you support continuous training? What kind of structures are in place for developing green skills? The engagement of learners is the third area. So how do we enable learning regarding sustainability in different ways and support learning and work together with our learners in activities? The awareness raising and involvement of people is a fourth area. How do we work in our local communities? And how do we support capacity building? You were mentioning, Ibrahim, as well, supporting the capacity building in communities, and perhaps supporting, sometimes we speak about grassroots, but I'm also, regarding what you said about local leaders, I'm also thinking grass tops, perhaps, at the local level. And then the fifth area, partnerships for sustainability. So how can we join forces in campaigning, in doing work together to move ahead in this work? We move to the next slide. This was just a brief mentioning the sustainability matrix as such. To support the development of sustainability practices, and perhaps generally to support networking, in SMALEI, the project, we've also compiled guidelines for personal mentorships on the one hand, and for organizational peer reviews on the other hand. So in these guidelines are suggestions for how you could establish and start up a mentorship structure in your context. Here again, the context adaptation, as well as for how to set up a collaboration among organizations that would like to do peer reviews and reflect together on their sustainability work and organizational development. So in this slide, you can also see from the guidelines, from one of the pages, sparks of inspiration, looking for sustainability peers. So here we have provided just some ideas to get started thinking about how to find like-minded who would be interested to be involved in mentorships or peer reviews. So perhaps starting from your local or national context, or perhaps if you work more in European collaboration, the European level, but connecting with sustainability networks, perhaps already in place to get this work going. Next slide. And in the guidelines are also hands-on suggestions for what a workflow can look like and questions to start from, for example, when in dialogue as a mentor with a mentee. So quite hands-on in different ways. And we've also pictured tentative scenarios from the context of some of the project partners. And you can read up more closely after today's session. This is also very detailed to look at in the slides, but just an example as an excerpt from the guidelines. To the left is a scenario of how mainly I picture a workflow, what the process could look like, doing peer reviews among some of the Swedish folk high schools, adult education centers in Sweden. And to the right is how the Polish NGO Trainers Association STOP pictures, okay, if they were to set up a mentorship program starting from their members, their membership base, what could that look like? How could they go about in practice? So to get us started thinking. And as we mentioned, as Tina mentioned earlier, we have also provided at the Digital Academy of SMALEI a space to think about how mentorships or peer reviews could be developed in your context. So this is a short overview of the guidelines we've drafted. And I'll stop here as an introduction so we can move ahead.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, August. And thank you also, Tina, for being with us. I know you're a busy individual and have to go now, so thank you. And in the meantime, I will probably actually go back to sharing the page that we were on. Because now that we've heard the overview of some of the resources we've made in SMALEI, so this matrix where you can have a look at different areas where you can improve in your sustainability in your institutions. And we also have this mentorship peer review guidelines and a variety of other tools. You can have a look at our website. There's a lot to pick and choose from. But the real idea is that we want institutions to start working on their sustainability or to develop further if they've already taken an action, and to be critical of their stance and what they've done and how and where it is that they're going. So I'm going to introduce to you the activity of today, the main activity, which is called Climate Action Sweet Spot. This is not an idea from us. It is from Ayana Elizabeth Johnson, who is a marine biologist, an expert, and a fantastic speaker. I really recommend, if you have 10 minutes, to watch her YouTube TED Talk, which is called How to Find Joy in Climate Action. Here she introduces the Venn diagram that we've adapted for our purpose for today. And she talks about why it is that the center of your Venn diagram, your climate action, should be where you try to spend the most minutes of your life, where it is that you're happy working. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail, but just to let you know, it's not from us, it's from her. And she is very talented, so have a look at that. What we'll do today, if this clicks, excuse me, I'll go back, this is a Venn diagram that I sent to you all via PowerPoint, but we'll go through it, which is an activity of finding your climate action sweet spot. So in the top circle, what we're looking at is what brings you joy. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to, write about only activities that bring you joy. There can also be people that bring you joy, places that give you joy, experiences that bring you joy, what makes you happy. And this is also not just in work or in your professional life, even though you might be coming today representing an institution. You also can look at this in terms of your personal life, what actually makes you happy. Then when you're looking at what are you good at, I think a lot of people are going to be very critical of themselves. Often when you ask yourself, what are you good at? You can only list a few things, but maybe when we're looking at this and when you're taking time to do this in the breakout rooms in a moment, you should think, what would a friend say that I'm good at? Because sometimes that's a little bit easier to think about. And in terms of what are you good at? This isn't just your work life. This is also what resources do you have? What networks, what experience, which skills, which tools do you know about? And it's important that you start from where you are now. It doesn't mean, that you have to go and I think the best place essentially for you to start working on your action is from where you are right now. And often you'll realize you have a lot more tools and resources than you think possible when you reflect on this. In terms of what needs to be done, what this means is what needs to be done right now in your local institution, community, or life to work on sustainability. What are the biggest sustainability challenges that you're facing right now? And for this, I have put the SMALEI matrix because, as August explained, there are 5 areas of which there are many sub areas and many aspects. And when you look closely in detail, it can give you inspiration for, am I working on that topic? However, this is just an inspiration. And when we are doing this right now, because of the purpose of the short format of the workshop, I want you to think about what needs to be done right now in my local community to improve the overall sustainability situation and start from where you are now. And if you already are quite developed or if you have some extra time, then have a look through the matrix and see what there is that will inspire you. I'll go through an example that I've actually done for myself so that maybe it's a little bit clearer for everyone. In terms of what we're going to be doing in the activity, and then you will be left free in breakout rooms, so fairly controlled, but free still. Here, when I was looking at what brings me joy, I wrote cooking with the music on when I know the words to the song. Very important. I enjoy that. I like making others laugh or smile. I like being outdoors. I like hiking. I love planning things that go well. I think most people like that, but when it goes well, I enjoy it. I like also making friends in general and meeting new people and connecting. Then when I was thinking about what am I good at, I did have a little bit of an existential question here, but then I thought actually I'm quite good at being organized and planning. I'm quite good at creative ideas in general for activities, games. Most people enjoy a dinner party at my house. I'm good at saying yes. And I'm very good at waking up early in the morning. I'm quite talented at that. And then I thought about what needs to be done. And in terms of what needs to be done, I did think about my local context a little bit, but I was also inspired by the Matrix, and I'll show you what I mean. The 2 things I wrote were food waste and lack of composting knowledge. I've lived with many flatmates before who are throwing everything in the same bin, are not eating their meals, are not cooking with the whole vegetable. And I've always found that really rather wasteful. And when you're looking at under the environmental sustainability for the institution, under catering, for example, there's an aspect and it's talking about supply food and drink options that are going to be promoting sustainability and limit waste. So you could say that either I got inspiration from the matrix or I noticed it was in it, but in either way, you can have a look at it and it gives you these ideas. And then I wrote for what needs to be done also that there's a lack of community in a sense of tackling a common issue with others. Perhaps we all feel this to a certain extent that we're in our islands. But I know I definitely personally feel, not only in my institution, in my work life, but also in my personal life, that you have a lack of community and this feeling of being alone in tackling such an important issue. And so when you look at, for example, partnerships for sustainability, when you look at collaboration with local sustainability initiatives, the matrix prompts you to think about whether or not you're part of local networks to promote sustainability in regional and local settings. And so I thought, actually, yes, that is a problem that I think that I would like to address. And so what did I put as my climate action sweet spot? But I have to admit, I cheat, but I'll tell you why in a second. I wrote to join an NGO that organizes zero waste food initiatives in local communities, or another NGO organizing awareness raising events. I wrote that because I think I'm good at organizing. I know that I enjoy meeting people and hopefully I also like cooking. So I thought maybe all of this could go together and I could feel like I'm part of something. And most importantly, I think I would enjoy it. Now, I say I cheated because I do enjoy it. Here's 2 initiatives that I am actually part of in Brussels. This I piggybacked off my partner's success of organizing the home event, which is the House of Mother Earth. It happens in Belgium every year. And well, it started last year. It's happening again this year. So we can say it's happening every year now. And it's the idea of showing people the house of the future And so you walk through different rooms, sort of created rooms with secondhand furniture, and different companies come, different charities, different organizations to tell you, well, what can we be doing in these spaces in the future with an environmental point of view? It is happening this year on the 13th and 14th of April. Anyone's in Brussels at Tour Taxi, worth looking at. And also I found a local NGO, which is, well, actually a French and Belgian NGO called Les Petites Cantines, and it's social solidarity food. So you cook once a month or so, and you provide food for the community, and you all share a meal with one another. It doesn't necessarily tackle, let's say, the sense of environmental food waste, although of course they try to use like secondhand leftover food from supermarkets, but it also really helped build my community. And I think that that's really important when you're looking to connect and work on sustainability, that you're not alone. So that's my personal story that I wanted to share, and to help you understand how it is we're going to do the Venn diagram here. So what will happen now is that I will split, or Marina will split us into two rooms. August will be taking one room and I will be taking another. You all have the PowerPoint template, but we will individually post it into the rooms again. August, I think you know where to find it as well, the link. And you are going to work through that Venn diagram yourselves to actually think what your climate action sweet spot is. Then we're going to have a discussion about it in our groups, introduce ourselves a little bit more personally with our voice and not just typing, hopefully. And then we'll bring it all back for a plenary activity where we're mapping out what needs to be done and who can help. If that sounds reasonable, we'll be leaving about 15 minutes into the breakout rooms. That's how long you'll have, I think, for the activity. So if that's clear for everyone, Marina, I ask you to kindly initiate the breakout rooms. Uh, I think, Marina, that I have not been allocated to a room.
Yeah, because you're the main host, so I think you will have to go in, just click join, click on the
okay.
breakout rooms and click join where you want.
Perfect.
I don't think I have the right as a co-host to do
And
that to you.
can you then join room? No, we need to change because there's too many. Wait, hold on. Don't worry, I'll do it. Because there's too many people from the project in one room. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. We'll sort it out. I'm going to move it to room 2, and you're going to go to room 1. Lucia, if you're there, I'm going to move you to room 1. And I'm going to join room 2. And Marina, can you join room 1, please?
Yes.
We'll do it separately. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, we moved everyone around because we wanted to have the right numbers of people. It was a bit of a, I hate Zoom breakout rooms, guys. I really hate them. They are not fun. So here is I put a link in the chat to the Venn diagram. And maybe before we get started on that, would everyone like to do a little round of introductions of yourself? I know that we know each other, Andrea and I, but we can still do a little round for everyone. Maybe starting with Petra, if you'd like to.
Yes, thank you very much. I do not know what exactly you want me to say. I'm Petra from the European Parents Association. I met you all during the conference in Brussels also. We're really interested in this project because we think it's very well prepared, it's very well done, it's very complete, and we are collaborating on different European projects and with our members on those who work in adult education because we believe that parents are examples of the future generations. Children mainly do not do what we tell them to do, but they do what we do, they imitate us. So we think that parents should be should have the tools to be a good example to their children, especially as far as sustainability goes.
Fantastic. You introduced yourself perfectly.
Yes.
Lovely to hear about you and your organization. Andrea, would you like to go?
Yes, Andrea from Germany. I'm representing the adult education centers here in the region of Baden-Württemberg, called Volkshochschulen, folk high schools. I was actually part of the project team, but I'm here today because we then thought that this idea of training mentors is very interesting for our schools. We have 160 schools, and first of all, on the level of our institutions, because we would like to have sustainability strategies there. And first, we had the ambition to do everything on our own, but now we understood that mentors are probably the key to really bring this SMALEI ideas to the schools. And then I'm already glad that I'm here because, Petra, you just said you are working with parents, and of course, target groups of our schools are parents as well. And this is already a good target group. I just got the idea here. So thank you for being here. This is certainly a very good target group to go to if it comes to sustainability programs, and also encouraging them to become mentors for parent communities, which certainly do exist. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrea. Olga, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Olga, and I'm a trainee at the European Association for the Education of Adult. Actually, now my traineeship is heading to the end, but yeah, I'm still assisting quite during some kind of projects and working in a policy team.
And I know, Olga, you have a lot of interest, particularly in vulnerable groups, working with them as well, and migrants and such like, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Perfect. And Ibrahim, we have all heard from you. So hello.
Hello. Yeah. So I thought I already explained mine, but I'll try to reintroduce myself again, if that's okay. Right. So I'm Ibrahim. My interest lies between connection between education and NGOs, non-profit initiative, as personal connection, but I work with Teachers Without Borders as an intern. And last year I also met, I think mostly all the peoples online except Olga, the one who introduced herself before me. So I'm here to just learn how we can be able to use this system to support teachers in different contexts in terms of building their local leadership capacity. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to an interesting discussion and interaction with you.
Fantastic. So then what I suggest, wait, actually, because I have music for this session today.
Ooh.
I know. Gone all out for our last event. Take out of bin. Why was it in the bin? Oh no. I'm sorry. I shall find the correct one, excuse me. And why does this not look right? Well, there's nothing I can do about that. We'll share this. Excuse me. Sorry about this. Okay, it's fine. So here is the Venn diagram that is here. You can download this onto your computer, or you can draw it yourself on a piece of paper. It's totally up to you. Then I suggest that I'm going to give you 10 minutes or so to look through that, if that sounds reasonable. And then we'll discuss it. Does that sound clear for everyone? Does anyone need any clarifications on how the Venn diagram works?
I would just like to ask for how long this breakout session is foreseen, because as I told you, I will have to leave before the end, unfortunately.
I think we'll do 10 minutes of the activity and then a few minutes of discussion. So like 13 minutes. But if you have to leave, you can leave. It's no worries.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so then I will put on some workshop music, which you can maybe hear. Yeah, I've got some nice workshop music, and I will leave you 10 minutes to do this, and I'm going to have a think about what I can say for institution.
Yep.
Hope you're all finding this music as inspiring as I am. Great. We'll give you. How are we getting on? I don't want to rush anyone, but it's also hard to manage the time in an online setting. Have we progressed a little? Yeah. Okay. Let's give it 2 more minutes, and then we can talk about it a little bit before the main rooms. Okay. Do we think, I'll pause, although I have enjoyed that music. Do we think that we're ready to share maybe a little bit where we're at? Maybe let's start with a concrete question. Was that easy for you all? How did that feel, the exercise? No. Petra, why do you say no?
Well, it actually felt easy enough to say what brings me joy.
Good.
And possibly even what I'm good at these past years, I've been working on that a lot, and I see it's where the joy comes from. But when I realized what needs to be done, and then where's the sweet spot, I realized that actually I was not. I was really thinking about the challenges and about the difficulties that I have to bring into life, or that I have had over many years. So I'm not talking work here. I'm really talking my personal, concrete actions. So it actually took me a lot into reflecting over the challenges, and yeah. So.
And would you like to share what? Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, would you like to share what kind of even if you haven't concretized it yet, what kind of area you want to work on?
So given what I filled in for joy and what I'm good at, I thought of awareness raising and involvement. I have created a few years ago a small association. It's not about it's about conveying and bringing to people the possibility of seeing that we can create a win-win situation for all beings on earth, that we do not have to be in competition with each other, but that all together, humans, but also animals, plants, the entire planet, we can actually do this win-win. So I've created a small place where people can meet animals and learn about their true needs and feel how humans and animals can co-create. So when I came to what is actually then the action sweet spot, I sort of felt dragged into, yes, but I do not manage. I created this, but I actually do not. I'm there. I got locked up in the where I'm stuck with this, which is the fact, the lack of time, the fact that every time I want to do something, my kid falls sick, and so I was more stuck in this, and I couldn't get out of there anymore. I would be curious to learn how others experience that.
Well, I wonder if Andrea, not to throw you under the bus, but I wonder if you have any experience on this, because I know that you're multitasking with many different things, but also that Baden-Württemberg has really strong partnerships with different kind of organizations. Maybe, I don't know. If you don't, it's okay, but I don't know if you have any kind of advice or similar experience.
To Petra, yes, I mean, what I have to say is what I like. I like what you said first, that we always have to make sure that everybody understands we are not in a competition, but we work together. We do have, let's say, on a job level, on an institutional level, indeed, we have a lot of good partnerships here in the region, finding other organizations. So we are educators, but we work a lot. Parents organizations, I haven't thought about it, but and family education, but also yeah, with all sorts of other stakeholders here, let's say. And I think that is very important to understand. And we tend in our networks, we tend to forget this. So then suddenly we are in a competition, although we could create win-win situations. So I took the idea from you, but we also have good experiences where that works. And my feeling is when we work together, then we produce really better results than in competition situations. So in a way, I have the same experience. I know we have some projects where we managed to really put this to practice, and others where it's a bit more difficult. Yeah, so I can just confirm what you said. And I'm at the point at the moment that I'm working a lot on this institutional level, but my personal goal that was for the blue circle here for the blue. My personal level is so on the institutional level we already do that, and what I would like to transfer is to transfer this idea also to our learners. So we have 160 schools all over our region. We have a lot of migrants coming every day to learn German. We have a lot of people from just normal people coming to our schools to, I don't know, to learn a foreign language or also to do some leisure things. Family education is an issue. So I would also like to transfer this idea to our learners.
Andrea,
And
I'm so sorry, I have to end the breakout rooms, but I'm
yes,
very interested in this and would love if we could
sorry, I
continue the
talk too
chat.
much.
No,
Yes.
it's just I already said when we're closing, I'm already late on my own time.
Yes.
But if I can, I'm going to close and we can continue this. And if Petra, you have to leave, thank you so much for sharing, and we'll share all the materials and we can discuss more.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just close the rooms and we'll be back.
Okay.
Oh, so we have 60 seconds. Never mind. That's very
Yes.
anti-traumatic, isn't it? Sorry. Excuse me. So for you, Andrea, you want to bring it to the learners, but maybe should we?
Yes.
Okay, we can click
That's the
leave
next
break.
step because this is the
Yeah.
power we have also in education that we reach a lot of people every year. So in our region, for example, 2 million learners in our schools. And this idea, not competing, but working together, that's important, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm going to click leave breakout room and join the main room. It might have popped up, and yeah, see you all there for the discussion and continuation. Thank you. Great. Hello, everyone. Sorry for being over time. It's really hard to cut a conversation off when it's interesting and when people are in the middle of it. So that's a challenge. So as we're all slowly coming back then, but I think a couple of people might have left due to time constraints or whatever it might be. August, are you able to maybe give a recap of what happened in your room and what we heard, or do you think it's better to go through and ask people to share themselves?
I can try to recap a little bit. We had a good time, and in the session. And one thing that we talked about was the issue of creating continuity beyond project funding as a challenge when we work with sustainability and, well, perhaps in this sector in general. So to be able to perhaps tap into existing structures, existing programs, also to pave the way for continuity. Yeah, to overcome budget constraints as well. And then we were, I was also sharing my perspective from the local view in Malmö, looking at citizen involvement and involvement perhaps in the energy transition as a more specific case as well. As you, Charlotte, I was feeling that I cheated a little bit because I'm part of drafting and project application for funding to see if we can pave the way for a local Malmö energy cooperative as a way of involving citizens. But we enjoyed the Venn diagram as such and as a starting point, and to start from the personal level and the individual side. But please, Emma or Marina, Alicia, please fill in with more of your thoughts from our quick discussion, if you like. Would you like to elaborate, Emma, on what I spoke about regarding your thinking?
You summed it up really nicely, so it's good.
Otherwise, maybe more thoughts from the other group?
Yeah, maybe because we really only got to hear from Petra and a little bit from Andrea in our time. One thing that when you were talking about the issue of like resources or budgets, Petra was sharing how she has formed a small association about creating a win-win situation, right, with no competition between planets and humans and animals, and that we can all benefit. Maybe Petra, you'd like to elaborate on that and the challenges that you said that you were facing when doing this activity?
Thank you, Charlotte, for this additional space. I had already a lot in the breakout session, but yes, so I was actually, I loved the exercise, and I did it for my private project, which is a small project aiming at creating awareness in people that we can all live in a win-win world without competition. That animals, plants, the earth do not have to suffer so that we can maintain a high standard of living that we want to live, but that it can all go hand in hand. So it's actually a very small association with animals coming from background of mistreatment. And we're educating people and doing especially bonding activities with parents of children. Where we actually create this awareness. And my main challenge is, to be honest with you, just especially to find the energy, time, and resources, financial resources also, to keep going to do this in a very full life of parenting, working. So I think that this is maybe a common struggle that many face. Thank you.
Definitely. And then I know, Andrea, I rudely cut you off in the groups, and I do apologize for that. If you or anyone else, if you'd like to share what you thought, or Ibrahim, if you did the exercise, how you felt, or Olga.
Can I go? Okay.
Of course, yeah.
I also did the exercise, but I was more looking at it in a personal way, like looking at what brings me joy, such as bringing happiness to contributing to other people's happiness. But I think also the issue of how to work with other people, because I mean, this is a very wicked challenge in terms of sustainability. It's a very huge concept where it has different rooms, where you have different ways to tackle this. So I mean, it's not like an individual solution that can solve this. So I really see that we really have to work together as organization, as individuals, to be able to look at it as a holistic solution to solve this problem. And I think that is always what I also look at some of the NGOs trying to do things, and they're trying to solve things on their own by looking at it in a competition way. So I'm very happy to hear from my colleagues saying that they have this community where they can share resources. I also want to give credit to one of the guys who just joined, Numan. He has been a very strong activist in Pakistan. I don't know if maybe you can give him some few minutes to share what he has been doing already. Because I sent him this person, I think is going to be a very great resource for him. Yeah.
Absolutely. Please, Numan, we'd love to hear from you. I know you just joined, but I wasn't sure if you were in the other room. So please, we can, of course, hear from you.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm so sorry for joining late. Basically, there is a time issue, the time between your area and my area. So that's why I was just sleeping here at this time. I hope everyone is going great. So my name is Numan Alam. I'm basically from Pakistan, from a marginalized community here in Pakistan, which is impacted by climate change as well as by the conflicts in our area currently doing due to some activities. So I have my own organization, Climate Class Connection. We founded in 2023 after the very severe impact of 2022 floods. Especially when 27,000 schools were destroyed, and most of them were girls' schools. So my organization particularly work on the marginalized community empowerment and girls empowerment, whether it is a female teacher and a female students. Thanks to Ibrahim Muhammad, we have just received some resources from Office for Climate Education and VVOB to implement our activities here in Pakistan. Uh, Till now, we have trained 3,000 federal school teachers on sustainability actions in their schools, which is directly impacting 10,000 students. Believe me, about 70% of our teachers have implemented all our activities of sustainability actions, recycling, engaging the community, engaging the marginalized communities in schools, in classrooms, into climate actions in their own respective areas. So we are making some moment of empowerment of the marginalized community here in Pakistan. So they should have the decision making process. They should have some role in the climate actions, whether it is in the village, whether it is in the urban areas. So sustainability is the core concept at Climate Class Connection, uh, where we are advocating for engaging the mothers. We are engaging the SMC, school management committees, into the climate actions. We're engaging students in panel discussions, in art competition, etc. And we also finally advocating for policy change like curriculum implementation. And one of our main achievement was that after implementing our first project here in Pakistan, the Ministry of Education has directly reached out to me because we were very uh, rigorously working in Islamabad area. So Ministry of Education, the Secretary Sahab reached out to me that, Naman, we want to train our teachers on sustainability actions in schools, and that's why we won that project, and teacher trained 3,000 teachers, both male and females, on climate actions in eco entrepreneurships. So we are bringing a new concept, which is eco entrepreneurship here in Pakistan schools, where students can convert the waste product into some beautiful products to sell there. And seriously, our girl students, because girls can decorate things very beautifully when you give them that task. So they have made some very very cute and beautiful projects from the waste, and also sell in the market. So yeah, these are some of the work that we are doing, and in a support of climate Office for Climate Action, Climate Education, and VVOB and schooling.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Iman, nice that you are here, but I think also I can already introduce you to so many opportunities here. I know you are from a different platform, but we have the European Parent Association, somebody from that committee here. So since you are working with parents, I think it's nice to also connect with them, and somebody from Germany who is also working with teachers and students. So I think this is a great way to find connections and share resources together. I don't know if you take a look at the resource already, but please feel free to reach out to Charlotte as well. She's also a very nice person to share resources with you.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. I accept that compliment. And thank you, Numan, for your uh, introduction. It's really interesting to hear about climate glass connection and what you're doing. And of course, after it sounds like you've done a lot since 2023. Let me tell you, that sounds really like you've been working hard. And I suppose you also have the will from the political side if you've received projects on that front. Well, the idea was that we were going to now sort of look at how we could gain help and what expertise we could give to each other. So maybe as a closing activity, we can do that. And then, Numan, you can add what kind of expertise you have in your organization, and we can see how we can connect people. We don't have a lot of time for it, but we can still look at it now a little bit. So the activity we had just done was about coming up with our climate action sweet spot. What that meant was like what is it that you like and want to work on with regards to climate action? And then what here now I invite everyone, this is collaborative, so you can actually type in it, should be. That what is the next action you'd like to take? In the purple column, you can think about from whom could you ask help. It doesn't have to be a specific person. It can be in terms of what kind of expertise do you need to get working on that action. And if anyone reads that and thinks, oh, I could help, you can write your name. What we'll do as the time has gone a little short, and I want to make sure that this is an important outcome of the project, we'll start on it now, and I can share this and it can remain collaborative. And we can share it with people after the workshop, and that way we can sort of create a little bit of a connection board. So I invite you all to take as two people have already done, perfect, to take a sticky note, claim it as your own, start typing your area you want to work on, the exact next step you'll take, and offer your expertise. Oh, someone has made a very large sticky note. I will let that be. Okay. Not sure what happened there, but that's okay. So we'll have just about 5 minutes for this. And it looks like we already have written actually quite a lot here on the board. So maybe I'll have a little readout of some of them, but you can continue typing. So climate action sweet spot, creating tools and activities that fit into existing initiatives. And the next step could be analyzing current work in progress and figuring out how this could be done. Maybe you need help from parent organizations. Well, convenient we had one here today, and if not, we know a couple others. And I wrote, actually, EAEA has many capacity building topics here. Maybe we could help share the resources and the mapping. Research, preparing checklists, and working on making sustainable choices with a small budget. And the next step could be looking into these options, secondhand, community approaches, and social economies. Charlotte, you could ask help from. I don't know who this is, but you can ask help from me. I offer it.
It was me. It was me.
Oh, it was you. Okay, Marina. We do live in a similar area. I do have the information. You can come join my cooperative supermarket. It's great fun. We have also someone looking for stakeholders engagement. And the next step could be finding out ways to bring changes in national climate policy, always a challenge, to integrate climate education into all aspects of policy. You need help from policy. I wrote that actually there's this really excellent free Excel online, which maps, it was released this year by someone on LinkedIn, excuse me, who maps all of the different Euro bubbles in NGOs and CSOs in Brussels. It's really helpful by theme, so maybe that could be a good way to get started on policy. Then we have creating new projects and involving learners, creating activities to involve learners before training and mentoring, of course. And our colleagues from Germany say perhaps we could help with insight in sustainability and adult education in VHS. We have organizing sustainability awareness raising, and we need to find local NGO partners to network with, and we need networks, fair enough. Teacher initiatives on climate actions, connecting teachers with resources and climate active warriors. So we need to be connecting teachers directly to teachers. Maybe when we leave the board up, we can have a think about if we know any organizations that could be doing that. Then being part of new initiatives, Malmo Energy Co-op as a concrete initiative. And the next action could be playing a part in local networks, contributing to project application. You would need contacts in the municipality and activist contacts. And who can help? August, who is part of it, from the Glückale Folk High School network. That's very interesting and nice that everyone's written a concrete thing that they would like to work on, which I think is a really nice outcome. Like I say, I will share this board at the end, hopefully, tomorrow when I send out all the material, and we can work on it. And we can share the organization names of one another, maybe not the specific emails, but the organization names, and you can have a look and find each other up on LinkedIn. That has been a really nice workshop and conclusion to the end. We lost a few people along the way, but that's okay. No worries. And thank you also, Numan and Ibrahim, for your contributions, and Ibrahim for your networking skills here. I will just, I think then actually we can probably conclude. Would anyone like to add any thoughts on the session and any feedback they'd like to give? No?
Yes, maybe from my side. Yeah, I liked that it was also a personal reflection this morning. So a nice, let's say, alternative to normal workshop work. I like that. Thank you. And I think this is for the mentorship idea. This is important that first of all you reflect on yourself.
Perfect. Thank you, Andrea, for that. August?
Yeah, I enjoyed the session this morning together with you, and I think the Venn diagram, the climate sweet spot activity, I will bring it and use it in other workshops in Sweden as well.
I'm so happy to hear that.
And share it with the existing network, I think, in Sweden, among the Swedish folk high schools, especially teachers interested in sustainability.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah, thank you very much for this. I was thinking before I joined, I was thinking, okay, how do I fit in? Because I'm not a climate activist. But then after following this, I already see the connections. Because I have one question: how do online institutions be able to factor climate change in their own policies? But I think I can give you that question to think about it, and you can always send me a response if we don't have time.
Yeah.
Because we are an online-based organization, and I'm looking at it in terms of some institutions, they have policies, climate policies. How do we factor that in our institution?
I mean, it's a very interesting point, and I have to say, in the SMALEI project, I'm not sure to what extent we specifically looked at like an online organization and the sustainability of online work. But it's also true that in terms of when you're traveling for certain events or organizing certain things, that there must be considerations in. So we can see what we can find, maybe, and send that to you and have a think about that one, I think. And in that case, as it's perfectly 11:30, thank you so much for this morning. Thank you for all of your contributions. And well done. We've ended the SMALEI activities on this front. So thank you, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day. We'll send all those materials. And no worries, Alicia. That's okay if the connection was bad. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.